Well, good morning. It's early August 2021, second kayak fishing trip of the summer on the Ottawa River, north or I guess west of Deep River, depending on how you want to look at it. We expect a big wind this afternoon, so I'm on the big water right now, early in the morning. Going to spend a couple hours out here. Once the wind kicks up, we're going to go and hit some sheltered water, and then over the next day or so, we're going to do some exploring. So, should be a fun trip. Really looking forward to it, as always. So, let's see how it works out. Well, we've been bit off. We've lost one. And now we got one. Although this guy ain't very big. And nice thing is it's a smallmouth, which I was hoping to find in this bay. There we go, first fish of the trip. Hopefully we'll get some more. Hopefully we'll get some bigger ones. Well, as you can tell, waves have kicked up quite a bit. Wind has probably hit consistent 18 to 20, maybe a little bit over, and gusting higher. And because this is big water that I've got to paddle back across, I'm not going to take any chances because the wind's quartering me, I'm going to have to go sideways to the waves for at least a portion of it. So I'm heading back to the boat launch and we'll go find some smaller water. All right, well, off the water. Now it's time for a wee hike with the kayak back up to the car. Okie dokie, it's been a very long hunt, but we've got a good one now. A really nice bass, actually. There we go. 15, 16-inch variety. Nice. Came into a big sand bed at the far end of this creek that I'm fishing, and missed him the first time. Well, he's only 15. Yep. Missed him the first time, but no problem with that second one. Very picturesque waterfall, but no luck on the fish. I had a couple of hits from probably smallmouth, and saw a pike swirl on my lure a couple of times, but he never bit, or at least I never got him on. So off we go to continue the hunt. It's been a long day. We've only got 2 fish in the boat, so kind of humbling, but we're going to keep plugging away. I missed one just a minute ago on the same lure. Uh-oh, don't jump again. This is a good fish. I don't want to lose this guy. He's not huge, but he's long. Oh, right over the net and off. Damn it. Huh? Oh well, that was a good fish. Well, the frustration has continued. I have been hooking a lot of fish in this bay, at least 5, and I've lost every single one of them. Just one of those days. Can't keep them on the hook. Alrighty, well, we had a little hammer handle pike on. Not too worried about him. Just played around with him at the side of the boat and let him go. The bass, though, we got to figure out how to get them into the boat. So one thing about being able to stay at the Rolphton and Mattawa is that they have a dock right out the back of the hotel. And if you don't really feel like driving first thing in the morning, you can just hop on the river, and there's excellent smallmouth fishing all through this Mattawa stretch. You know, that bottom structure looks pretty good, but so far no bites. Well, after a couple of failed hookups, decided to go to a little Mepps Black Fury. And almost instantaneous results. Little wee guy, but I'm sure there are some bigger ones along here. Alright, got our first decent fish in the morning. Got a pike on here. Gonna back off a wee bit. I backed off on the drag a bit today. I realized that my drag was pretty darn heavy at some points yesterday, and that's kind of why I think maybe I didn't have quite as much success with some of those fish. They were just pulling off. I'm going to net this guy just because he's not bigger. Oh, there we go. Alrighty, that's alright. He's about 16, 17 inches. Show you the railway bridge. It's a big one. Runs all the way between Mattawa and the Quebec side on a fairly shallow section of the river here. And these bridge pilings are nice and big, and I just had a feeling that I'd find smallmouth here. Well, we've been hunting the smallmouth, and I've been getting hits on this bridge and trying to figure out how to hook these damn fish. Oh, come on. And finally got it. He's not a big one, but I'm sure there's more where he came from. Alright, well, this is interesting. These guys they're not actually necessarily hitting the lure. They're kind of sideswiping it, which is why I'm not getting hooked up very often. So, gonna have to figure that out. Alright, well, we've determined there are lots of smallmouth here. Hopefully there are going to be some bigger ones. And hopefully they don't throw every single one of my tails. All in the 6 or 7 inch variety. I had one hit that I'm pretty sure was a much bigger fish, just the way it felt. But that was before I put these tails on. I didn't get him hooked, so. There we go. Bingo, turned right into the net. Hey, for once I caught a break on one. There we go, nice fish. Good smallmouth. And there we go. That one's a little better. 12, 13, 12 inches or so. Alright, on the board with a good fish. And of course, I lost my tail. Every single fish is throwing the tail. I did a bunch of, you might have seen that. I might have that one on camera. Nice fish. I did a bunch of screwing around with a bunch of different setups, and it seems like this blue curly tail is what they want. So, you know, I'm gonna feed them the blue curly tail. What can I say? This guy's just using the current and digging for the bottom. And dang it, there he goes. Managed to get some slack. I was afraid that would happen. He started. All right, well, after an hour or so at the hotel, just to chill out and relax a little bit, I went and checked out a couple of other lakes, but I can't figure out how to get access into them, so I'm going to have to do some more Google work on that. So I have come back down to a spot just south of Mattawa that I really enjoy, and I found an interesting little bay here last time that I didn't get a chance to fish because I went exploring at the end of the day. So I'm going to head straight down there because my commitment on this trip is to fish new water, almost exclusively new water. So I'm going to head down there, about a 20-minute paddle or so from where I am now, and we'll see what happens. It's a really rocky shoreline and just a lot of just beautiful, beautiful scenery, little inlets and craggy little bays and stuff like that all along this stretch of the river. It's really quite gorgeous. Alright, well, we drifted onto a pretty shallow flat, and I've just been drifting through the weeds here, and we picked up this guy. Not a bad pike, not super big, but not bad. There we go. bad. Another 16, 17-inch pike. Figured if we got one in here, we might get a decent one. Might still be a few more around. This time, got a little rock bass. Guess he followed it off of that point. There we go. All about leverage. Little we got. There we go. This is going to be a good smallmouth. Alrighty. Oh, if you would just stop jumping, that would be very helpful. Come on up. Thought it was a pike when I first got him. And then he came right out of the water. This is a better one. There we go. That's a nice fish. Kind of feels like you're in a dream when you have the entire river to yourself for miles in any direction. I'm not quite sure where this guy came from, but he hit it like 6 inches from the boat. Absolutely scared the daylights out of me. Oh, and it's a big one. Nice fish. Good solid 2-pounder. Okay, that's the best jump of the day. He was a couple of feet out. Yeah, it's a 14-inch fish. If this was a largemouth, I'd have released him by now. I haven't even got this guy in the boat. He's maybe 15. But my point stands. They fight insanely hard. So see that? Look at that. That's a 12 or 13-inch fish on 20-pound line. Just insane fighters. Love it. I get most of these guys right now on the crayfish. And actually, I've picked up a couple of them because I... Once again, to my earlier point. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this guy's got a jig head buried in him. Which, okay, I'm going to make... Oh, shit. I really wanted to land that guy. He had a jig head buried in him. And I was going to remove it. Oh, damn it. Missed my place with the net. Oh, there we go. Oh, this is good. This is maybe my biggest fish of the day. Good to be observant. Keep your eyes open. Especially in the evening with calm water, you can see these guys swirling and taking bugs off of the top. Yeah, that's a good fish. This one's going to be 15 and a half, 16. Not bad. Haven't been catching a lot of big ones, so very happy to add this guy. There we go. Nice. We got another one. Oh, it's pike. A good pike. Oh, not bad. Actually, it's quite a day's pike. Mid to high 20s. Get him in the net, and then he decides to fight, of course. Typical pike. There we go. About 26 inches, 27 inches. Nice, nice fish. We'll get him back in the water here. And there he goes. Well, We got off to a slow start, but we've certainly picked it up tonight. Finally got one. Oh, there we go, and a nice jump for the camera. And he tossed it too. I am not having any luck with these bigger ones. There are 3 or 4 big ones here. I've hooked, well, 2 of them real good. Lost them both. The thing I should mention is we have a very hazy sun right now because there are an enormous amount of forest fires burning both in northern Ontario, BC, and some other places. And that smoke is up high in the atmosphere, and it's creating a real haze and air warnings and all kinds of trouble, not to mention the difficulty that they're having out west where, you know, thousands of people are evacuated. So it makes for some spectacular sunsets, but not a real good thing overall. So this is the Algonquin Park access to Windigo Lake. 2 kilometers down a very rough, rutted road. Almost looks like some of the laneways that I go up when I'm exploring the real backcountry lakes. And I'm kind of excited today. Today's a little bit more about paddling and a little less about fishing. We'll see how that goes. But I'm actually in Algonquin Park. First time in many, many years I've been up here. And usually I'm on the public waters and stuff like that, but today I wanted to go into the park. I'm doing a trip up here in September, so I'm on Windigo Lake, and I'm just going for a paddle right now. Just want to get a scope for the size and how the paddling goes. Putting in a full day of paddling in preparation for a fall trip that I want to do in here. You know, when you make these trips, you also want to keep your ears open as well as your eyes. I would never have spotted this little brook flowing into Windigo Lake if I hadn't been listening for it. Well, my timing isn't all that great, but if you take a look in that little bay in there that runs off of this very shallow, very weedy bay, you can really see that the grass has been knocked over and trampled. That's clearly a path that the moose used to get down here, and you can actually see right through the trees there where they come down. There's another one just a little further over. So I've got all the way down the lake. It really only took me about an hour and a half to get all the way down, and that was with a number of stops. So actually when I come back here in the fall, if I'm not actually stopping, I'm going to make it down this lake pretty quickly. So that gives me a little bit of a handle on my travel times. That's one of the more impressive widowmakers I've seen. That thing is barely hanging on. And it is leaning a long way out. Really pretty little outcropping here. I think I'm just going to stop here for a few minutes, stretch my legs, have a little lunch. Turned into an overcast afternoon. The wind has died down. It's very still out here. Very quiet and peaceful. I'm just keeping my eyes open because I do suspect that maybe later on the wind might suddenly kick up and hit me with a thunderstorm. So I'm not too far from the boat launch, so if that does start to happen, I should be able to get back there pretty quickly. As you could probably see from one of the previous shots, there are some residences on this lake. Wendigo is actually the entrance into Algonquin Park. It is not actually within the park boundaries at the moment. So there are some private residences on here, and then you go to the west end of the lake to enter the park. It looks like there's a path all the way to the top there, up that ridge. The edge of one of the big granite ridges is right here. It's Just a really beautiful area down in this end of the lake. Well, it's 3:30 in the afternoon, and I've done the end-to-end thing on Windigo Lake. I'm going to work my way back up to the launch now. I figure it's probably going to be about an hour. Probably not going to actually go out on Greenbow Lake, but I might take a quick drive over just to take a look at it to see what the launch is like and kind of scope it out, seeing as how I'm going to be driving by the launch anyway. So we have this very nice, very gentle at the moment, cooling shower coming down. Just been coming down for a couple of minutes. The clouds are still actually really, really light, so we'll see whether it gets any heavier or not, but right now it's not even worth getting a raincoat out. It's just really, feels really good. So the paddle back actually took maybe 35 minutes or so. I've still got lots of time. I'm going to just hang around the launch area here. There's a couple of interesting little rock piles and take a cast. I haven't skunked so far today, which isn't a surprise. Never been on this lake, don't really know it, and I'm not even actually sure what fish are in here. I know there are fish in here, but I don't know whether they're smallmouth or walleye or just trout. I've been sort of casting to a few different spots and haven't had any luck. Had one or two hits, but that's about it. So I'm going to sit here for a few minutes. The sun's come back out, and enjoy the last few minutes before I head back to the launch. Most of the day was spent in cloud, but that's okay. It was a beautiful day for a paddle. Gorgeous, kept the heat down. Was able to do the entire lake. And I'll be back here in September for my fall trip in Algonquin Park. This is the end of the August trip, and it's been a lot of fun. Caught a bunch of fish, explored a whole bunch of new waters, and really, you know, again, really great weather. So very enjoyable. So before I headed home, one more job to do. Try and find access into one of these other backcountry lakes that I was looking at. And after a few aborted attempts and some turnarounds at private property, found it.